Okay, and we are live. All right. Good evening, ma'am. Ami Edward. If I'm correct with the pronunciation, Ami
Y-
Edward, the guest
Yeah,
speaker, phenomenal ghostwriter. Welcome. It's good to
mhm,
have you here. Welcome to
mhm.
DIC African Podcast. I'm so much happy to have you here. Thank you for the effort. Thank you for everything you did to make sure you were here. You left your office 1 hour before the closing time just to make sure you meet up to this meeting. No, nah. No, nah. You reap your reward here on net. I don't want to hear reaping
Amen.
your reward on heaven. Here on net, you will reap it.
Okay, true
Yeah,
that.
sure. Yeah, you will
Amen.
see it happen. Thank you so much. Okay,
Yeah, you're
so
welcome.
we are to talk about the business of ghostwriting. So
Mhm.
before, wow, we already have one viewer. Please tell us where you are joining us from. So before we start, I would like us to meet Ma'am Amy Edward. Who is Ma'am Amy Edward? Amy Edward. So in 1 minute, just tell us who you are. Then we get to start.
Okay, so thank you very much, Collins. It's an honor to be invited up onto your show. So Amy is just another regular Nigerian there who has a family, a mom of four, and a graduate of mass communication from Ebony State University who got tired of way the system works, who got tired of having to beg for urgent TK every now and then, and decided to put into practice all that she's learned. Utilize the talents that she has to actually make something out of it. And God willing, it's been 7 years into the world of ghostwriting and making multiple figures, six figures from it, doing very fine, training people and looking forward to share the gospel of ghostwriting wherever it is that I am invited and I can share the gospel. So once again, it's an honor to have been given the opportunity to share the gospel of ghostwriting with you and with the awesome people on your platform.
All right. Thank you for that. Wow, 7 years, close to a decade.
Yeah,
Wow, wow, that's
almost.
massive. Not far from now, we will just miss 3 years. It's not far. Wow. Thank you
Ali.
so much for honoring my invitation. I know when I saw it. It's just like the Holy Spirit minister to me. Meet this lady. She's an expert. Bring her. She's an expert. No, oh,
Now
thank
you're
you, Jesus.
exaggerating.
Oh, wow, 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 wow. I was not wrong. I thought I was wrong. 7 years. Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So now we
You're
dive into the
welcome.
business of today. The business
Mhm.
of ghostwriting. We want to know this. We want to understand the business. So you have the stage. Thank you.
Okay, so once again, I'll say thank you to you and thank you to everyone who has made out their time to be here. And for those who will still make out their time to view this video, I actually do hope that something good comes out of it for every single person that comes across it, whether tonight or tomorrow or in any day to come. So the business of ghostwriting in relation to the topic of the project that you're running, which says the status quo, or rather breaking the status quo, right? So before anything, I think first and foremost, the most important thing is to delve into the definition of ghostwriting. Okay, because severally I've seen the term of ghostwriting being misused in many concepts. So more or less, ghostwriting is when you offer your service as a professional writer, when you offer your service to anybody, be it someone who is skilled in the world of writing or someone who does not understand the basics and the ABC of writing. Okay, from the very moment someone employs you and asks you to write for them, to write a story for them in exchange for money, and given the fact that you are not going to take glory for the book, it doesn't matter if what's that story being written actually becomes a fluke or becomes a success, you are not part of it. Your duty begins and ends from the very moment you start writing the story upon the moment you write the end, or rather you type the end on your system, and then there ends your transaction with this very person. Okay, so that is ghostwriting. That is what ghostwriting is all about. Ghostwriting comes with an expected amount of secrecy because you are not allowed to go about telling everybody about all the works that you've ghostwritten. Why? Because most people who hire ghostwriters are people who actually have the money. Okay, ghostwriting on a good day is supposed to be a very lucrative business. Ghostwriting started because most CEOs of the companies actually have a lot of responsibilities on their hands, and now they can't afford to write that manual they need to put out there for their consumers. They cannot write that memoir they want to sell to their thriving audience. That president does not have the time to write his memoir, he doesn't have the time to write his biography. Okay, so that's where you come in as a ghostwriter. So because you are not taking the glory for this work that has been written, you are compensated in a way that is kind of like seen as enough. Okay, you're compensated in a way that is enough for you, that whatever royalties it is that comes out of this book, if this book goes to be a great success, you don't partake in it. So when you're getting paid, you're actually being paid heavily, so that at least you have, if not anything else, at least by the time, kind of like all these things that they say something about, it's better to cry in a Prado Jeep than to cry inside the Keke Napep kind of thing. So now when you're mourning that you're actually giving out something of yours, because something of yours to this person, you're actually taking consolation in the money. Now that is what ghostwriting is. But over the years, or should I say of recent, I see a lot of people springing up in the world of writing, and practically everybody goes, "Oh, I'm a ghostwriter. Oh, I'm a ghostwriter." And then you go like, "Okay, can you tell me about the books you've written?" And then they're like, "Okay, I wrote a book that is on Amazon. It has my name. I wrote a book for so and so web. I did this, I did that, I did the other one." So first of all, I want to use this opportunity to correct the impression and tell us that there is a difference between writing and ghostwriting. Okay, ghostwriting is a form of writing. So if you write a book and you're allowed to put your name as the author of the book, then what you've done is to author a book. You are not a ghostwriter, and you've not acted in the capacity of a ghostwriter in any way. Okay, so I think that's the first thing about what ghostwriting is all about, and to correct an impression that a lot of people have about ghostwriting. Now, having said that and all of that, ghostwriting is actually a beautiful business. Ghostwriting is actually something that is not for the faint of heart. Why? Because for every work that we do, okay, every creative, every work you put out there is considered a brainchild. Okay, every story that comes out of you is considered a brainchild. So more often than not, like it is with physical children, the same way that you're like, it's not easy to give birth to a child and then send this child out to go live with someone else because you don't have enough money to take care of this child. Now the same thing is what happens when you ghostwrite for someone, and then you see the book doing very well, you see the book thriving, and then you're like, "Oh my, this is my work. It's only regrettable that I cannot take credit for this particular work that I have done." Now that is exactly how it feels. It feels like after going through the pains of 9 months of carrying your child in the womb, and then you birth this child, and then because you're not able to meet up with taking care of this child, you're forced to give this child out. The same thing. Now everything about ghostwriting is there to you, from the stage of the planning to the stage of the plotting to that stage where you eventually do the writing. Now to give out this work to the person that paid for it, and then you see this work there, you see people praising this particular person, that praising the eloquence, that praising the professional way that the work is written, and now you know this is something that came out of me, but I cannot for the life of me step up and say this is my work, because you're definitely going to breach a contract when that happens. Okay, so now that is exactly what ghostwriting is all about, and I think that is one of the challenges that a lot of us have with ghostwriting. I think it's one of the reasons why a lot of people do not subscribe to ghostwriting, because it feels like, if I can actually write a bestseller, then why write it and give it to someone else? Why don't I write this bestseller and then put it out there, make the money for myself, and be okay? And that brings me to the second reason why ghostwriting came to be, or why a lot of us actually chose to be ghostwriters. I think myself and many other persons that are out there can actually attest to the fact that we went for ghostwriting because, in as much as we have the potential to actually write something very intriguing, to write something captivating, to write something that can actually change the world, that can actually keep readers glued to the pages of the books. But a lot of us actually lack marketing skills, okay? Or some of us lack the funds that is required to put our work in the faces of the people who are going to buy this work and actually pay for it, okay? So now that is another reason why a lot of us go for ghostwriting. Now we need the money. The money that comes from it is enough to take care of the things that we need to take care of. And then the money is also enough compensation, because should we decide to write this for ourselves and put it out there, there is every possibility that the amount we get paid might we might not end up not realizing even up to a quarter of it, should we choose to write this story for ourselves and put it out there. Okay. And then personally, the third reason why most people do ghostwriting, which is my favorite, is every single work of ghostwriting actually challenges me. Okay, because with ghostwriting you get to learn a lot of things. I mean, ghostwriting is beautiful. Speaking from experience, as a ghostwriter, I've been able to travel to Minnesota. I've been able to go to the slums of New York. I've been able to go to Kentucky. I've been able to travel to China, Beijing, and so many places. Even in the corridors of power of China, through ghostwriting, I've been able to go there. Now, in real life, I've not been to any of those places, okay? But because of the opportunity that I've gotten to write for these people, ghostwriting actually triggers the researcher within. Because if you want to make yourself stand out as a ghostwriter par excellence, then you're going to need to do a lot of research. Okay, you don't just wake up and you start writing and the nonsense and expect yourself to, I mean, kind of like rate yourself and be like, I'm an amazing writer and all of that. Every person that comes to you as a client comes with unique requests. There are people that will come and what they want from you is fiction. There are those that will come, what they want from you is memoir. There are those that will come and what they want from you is biography. So first of all, you have to acquaint yourself with the terms of writing. If you want to be a ghostwriter, you want to first of all acquaint yourself with the words and the terms of writing. And that's why when I started speaking, I first of all said that I want to clarify that ghostwriting is different from writing. Okay, writing is a general term for everything that has to do with what we do. As long as you're putting pen down to paper or your fingers are typing on the keyboard in Microsoft or something that is going to be printed, what you're doing is writing. But when you start talking about writing, ghostwriting is different from being an author. Okay, because I see a lot of the newbies that spring up. I mean, everybody keeps saying, I'm a ghostwriter, I'm a ghostwriter, I'm a ghostwriter. But then when you have an in depth conversation with them, you find out that most of them are just earning a living as authors, like the ones that write for web novels on Facebook. Now you're writing for a web novel. This novel, these people, they contract you, they tell you to provide, they tell you to provide the story outline, and then when they like the story outline, they give you a contract to sign. You sign the contract, and then they're paying you direct to your account. They're not even paying you a one-time fee. Now they're paying you every month. As long as the story keeps going, you're bringing in readers for them, and then they're paying you. And then at the end of the day, sometimes they offer to do book covers for you that has your name on it. Now, when you ask a lot of people I meet, they tell you I'm a ghostwriter for so and so platform. And then I'm like, if you're a ghostwriter, then you won't even be talking about the platform that you're working for, right? Now, if you are a ghostwriter, there is no way your name is going or is going to be boldly written after the title of this book. So now what you've just done is that you're writing for a web novel. You can just say that you're a serial novelist because you're writing and your story kind of like runs serially every month. It's not something that just finishes immediately. It's not like the Amazon publishing where you do a writing, that you do everything, finish all the packaging and then put it up on Amazon. So now that is one difference. So if you want to be a ghostwriter, then you have to acquaint yourself with all of these terms, because if you don't understand all of these things, then how on earth are you able to defend it when you say I'm a ghostwriter? Now, when I ask some most of them questions, they're like, ghostwriting is the only form of writing that comes with a contract. As long as they ask me to sign a contract and they said that they're going to have ownership and access to the book for so and so number of years, and then at the end of the day they will now give it back to me. That equates to ghostwriting. No, my dear, it does not equate to ghostwriting. That is in no way ghostwriting. Okay, ghostwriting has a non-disclosure agreement contract. Okay, a normal person, every company that hires you, whether you're doing writing for them or you're a ghostwriter or you're a script writer or you're any kind of writer, even a simple blog, can hire you as a staff and give you a contract to sign. So the signing a contract does not make you a ghostwriter. There are different types of contracts for different types of writing. The only time you're saying it's ghostwriting is when it is an NDA, when it is an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement contract that you've been asked to sign. And then that non-disclosure agreement specifically states that you are not, excuse me, that you are not allowed to tell anybody in any way, not even in informal conversation, that you've written this book. Now that is ghostwriting. So that brings me back to what I was saying before I went back to keep talking about this one. Okay, so I was talking about the terms of writing, understanding the terms that there are to the world of writing. Before you say that you are a writer, you have to understand the terms of writing. Now, ghostwriting spreads across every form of writing that there are. Okay, on Amazon, yeah, if someone can actually hire me and be like, okay, I signed a contract with so and so web, and then I want you to write the story for me. Whatever they pay me, I'm going to give you a percentage of it. Now that is ghostwriting, because after I am done writing it, the person pays me, and that's all I know about a particular contract. Now the company is not paying me direct. This person who hired me is paying me. Therefore, my name is not going on that book. And even if I see that book anywhere tomorrow, I am not allowed to lay claims to it. So now ghostwriting can spread across web writing. Ghostwriting can spread across fiction writing, across memoir, across biography. Okay. Now, most people also do not know that a memoir is different from biography. So, if you do not know all of these things, then I don't understand what it is that you're doing in the world of writing. I think the best thing to do is to just go back to the basics and try to learn all about writing, because there is so much to learn, and you can't just start posing as a writer if you do not understand all of these terms that there are. Okay, which is why I keep saying I'm grateful to you for this platform, and at the risk of coming across as pompous, but I'm not pompous, and I'm trying to call it the way it is, because over the years, since last 2 years, I think there have been a surge of people who claim to be ghostwriters, especially on Facebook. Now, last 5 years, when I came public with my ghostwriting job, the very first time I talked about ghostwriting, I think that particular thread on Facebook drew more than 50 something comments of people asking me what is ghostwriting. Man, as at 5 years ago, a lot of people didn't know what ghostwriting was. And even as at early this year, when I went to Abuja, when I went to get my CMA and my CMC certificate, when I introduced myself and said I was a ghostwriter, man, I saw top people, I saw board members, I saw CEOs, I saw top officials in Abuja, and everybody was like, man, what is ghostwriting? So we kind of like, honestly, it was surprising, because these people were saying, I mean, they were like, I'm the CEO of so and so company, I'm the managing director of so and so company, we manage so and so company for the government, we work with so and so people abroad. And man, I was really scared, because it felt like I was the least person who was, I mean, I felt small compared to the things they were calling. I actually started thinking, and I was like, what company do I affiliate myself to now so that I can actually match up to this standard? Because it was scary the way they were kind of like throwing around the CEO, the COI. Man, honestly, so I deviate. I quite everybody had introduced themselves. I was like, at least if I'm the last to say, nobody will now hear what it is that I'm trying to say. And then I now said in a note scene that after I've introduced myself, I generally said I'm a ghostwriter. Everybody kind of like turned. Even the man who was anchoring was like, ghostwriter, did you make a mistake? Come again. What is it you said you're doing? And I said, I introduced myself again, and then I went, I'm a ghostwriter. And then the man said, please don't be angry, that he's going to give 5 minutes of recess because he really wants us to understand what ghostwriting is all about. So man, it makes you understand that there is a whole wild world out there of people who don't even know what ghostwriting is. Okay, so now it was funny. Okay, it was funny, but then I think it actually taught me a lesson, because now I wear it like a badge everywhere I go. I don't feel very afraid to introduce myself anymore. I mean, I boldly go, my name is so and so person and I'm a ghostwriter. Man, it's kind of like it announces me in the room, and sometimes it's kind of like acts like an icebreaker. Okay, so it's awesome. So last 5 years, last 7 years, like I was saying, ghostwriting wasn't that rampant in on Facebook. Okay, that I always knew about it because I am naturally kind of like very curious. I'm always browsing. I'm always going into the deep webs looking for things that I didn't keep and all of that. So I started researching all of these groups on Facebook, and then I saw a lot of groups like that, and then I came in. Okay, so now imagine last okay as at 7 5 years ago when I came into the world of ghostwriting newly, you bid for a job. When I bid for a job, then and then I go like for 40,000 words, I'm going to charge you like 0.1 or $0.2, and then when you total it in dollars, it comes up to like $1,500. I remember that back in those days when I charged like that, a lot of the white people will come under my comments and be like, "You're a scammer. There is nothing you're not you're telling me this woman, you're a scammer." And then they will now go to your profile and they will see Africa and they'll be like, "Ah, I said it, scammer from Africa. Now you're here to scam people and all of that." I think it was one of the things that actually informed my changing of my name on Facebook. Okay, then I went from bearing my legal name as at the time that I hadn't gone Adujuwan name, and then changed it to Amy Edward. I chose my second name, which is Amaka, and then I shortened it to Amy. And then I borrowed my husband's English name. His name is Edward. And then I coined them together and I came up with Amy Edward, because the bullying became so much. I mean, as at that period, they didn't understand why, for the life of me, they didn't understand why, for the life of me, I was charging $1,500 to write 40,000 words that they themselves were kind of like, they'd be like $5,000 is too small for 40,000 words. So now that brings me back to why I was saying that ghostwriters are actually compensated very heavily. Okay, because it's not easy to bet, it's not easy to nurture this thing within you, and then you bet it, and then someone else takes all the glory, and then someone else gets to go all through the cool book tours, gets to meet people, gets to make connections, all because of the intellectual and all the zeal that you poured into the pages of this book. Okay, so that's why I kept saying that, and I'm still going to connect it to another dot to make you understand why I made a hint on that particular aspect of ghostwriters being paid good money. 7 years ago, when I charged $1,500, then it was like mad money to me. When you change $1,500 to Nigerian money, even in today's economy, you've practically become a millionaire. Okay, you've practically become a millionaire, but then they couldn't understand it. So I think I had to, for every time, I will always prepare my reply. I'd be like, "Please, I'm from a third world country, and when I change this money there, it's actually a lot of money." So luckily for me, a lot of them kind of like, I got tried. One person trusted me with her work. I think she was a Ghanaian woman that lives in Minnesota. She was the first person that actually gave me my first ghostwriting gig. Then she was like, "Okay, I'm African, and I know that $1,500 might seem cheap to these people, but when we tell ourselves the truth as sisters, when we be, we know say the money plenty." So she offered $1,000, and because I was trying to build my portfolio, I said, "No problem, ma, it's all done." Okay, it's all done. Now she gives me the contract, and I go ahead and give her my best. And then that particular contract yielded her, she gave me six more contracts, six more books to write. That's equated to $6,000 as at the time. Man, it was kind of like mad money. I hadn't seen this amount of money before in my life, and it was too much. Okay, now fast forward to 7 years later. Now, ghostwriting, the cost of living keeps going up every day. So, as usual, the cost of ghostwriting is supposed to go up too with every other thing. But then, like it is with us Nigerians, I think I have the bragging rights. I have the bragging rights when I say that 50 or 60% of the people who do ghostwriting on Facebook today actually went through me. Even if they didn't come to me as students, they must have asked me one question or the other while they were starting out, because I still recall the amount of I still recall the amount of questions I had the very first day I mentioned ghostwriting on my page. My page, my Facebook profile that always drew like 5 comments and then 2 likes. And then that day I spoke about ghostwriting. I think I went to Formo KK and then I told her about it, Mama Flourish. And then she kind of like talked about it, because then I had a lot of gigs and I didn't know what to do with it. Now, the WhatsApp group I opened that period, kind of like it filled up. I had that same 200 and so whatever number it is, because the WhatsApp group filled up and people were still trying to join and nobody was able to join. Now, that is to tell you that a lot of people, even most of the people considered influencers as at that point in time, didn't even know what ghostwriting was all about and didn't know that you could actually write and earn in dollars. Okay, now I think I have that bragging right. Okay, but then I also regret it because, like every other thing that we Nigerians do, sad to say that, okay, now there's an influx of Nigerians into the world of ghostwriting, and then all of a sudden, instead of this particular craft to keep appreciating, it started depreciating. Now, you make an offer to a client for $2,500 as per that you're stepping up from the 1,005 you used to charge 7 years ago. And then they'd be like, but somebody from your country actually promised to write me 40,000 words and he or she is charging me $500 for it. It's not right now. It's messed up. Now, our counterparts, who are the white people, now ghostwriting for 40,000 words is going up to about 7,000, 8,000, and $10,000 for the counterparts, our counterparts in the Western world. But for we Nigerians, it keeps depreciating. If you're even wasting time after you said 2.5 and then they say someone actually offered to do it for $500, if you're wasting time, the next thing you will hear is that another person made an offer and said they would do it for $300. In fact, that they're willing to write the first 10,000 words for free, and then you're dead. Okay, so that's it. And I think those slowly, they started to kill ghostwriting. They started to kill ghostwriting the same way that it used to be when, I think I recall when graphics design was the rave, and then all of a sudden you see someone offering to teach graphic design classes for 1,000 naira, and then some went as far as teaching for 500 naira. Some were like, just recharge my phone and I'll teach you how to do it. So actually, that is the status quo of ghostwriting right now. And if we definitely want this business to survive so long and to actually feed us and do us a world of good, then I think a lot of us need to change the mindset with which we approach all of these things, especially service providers on the Facebook space. The way they're going about it is not the way it is. If you're a writer, then you have a talent, and that talent within you is sought after. A lot of people need you more than you need them. So there is no point in being desperate. The desperation is not necessary. The desperation is not necessary. But then again, having interacted with a lot of them, you see that, like with every other thing that is happening, most of them, if there are 100 ghostwriters now on Facebook, if you call up 70% of them, you find out that 70% of them are just there for the money. They don't even understand anything. Most of them, you read their pitch and then you see, if you cannot differentiate between I am and am, like writing it as am and writing it I, then hyphen, and then the m. If you cannot differentiate these two, then how on earth do you plan to write a book that is going to be a bestseller? Some of them come to your inbox, and then when you read the grammar usage, you're like, oh Lord, just blow trumpets and let everybody start going to heaven or hellfire. Man, it's messed up. And then when I want to talk, you tell me, I've ghostwritten for 10 businesses. What are you not talking? If I write now, man, this one is going to happen. And then you're like, okay, just go and write me a 500 words dialogue between a vampire and his human lover. And then that is the end of it. That one will disappear. You won't see the person again. So how do you plan to make money as a ghostwriter if you can't even do the simplest thing? Okay. Now, I think of recent, somebody was telling me something about The secret of ghostwriting. Yeah, that they found out the secret of we coaches, that the way we thrive on ghostwriting is that we hire people to do the writing for us, and plenty people, and then by the time they write, the little money you get from here, when you pull it together, it becomes a lot of money. And then I'm like, okay, there is one question I want to ask you. The blind cannot lead the blind. You cannot be a blind man and expect to lead another blind man. No, it takes someone who sees clearly to actually lead a blind man. Now, it's okay to want to make money. It's Nigeria is hard as it is, okay? Yeah, not everybody has the strength to go and do Yahoo business. A lot of us actually want to do genuine things and thrive, okay? But then if you want to hire people to work for you and manage people, then you need to at least understand the basics of ghostwriting. You need to be able to take a look at what someone has written and submit to you and understand if their sentence structure is not in the right place. You have to be able to read through what they've written and understand that this particular phrase is not working. You have to read through it and be able to tell your writer that there's an excessive use of adjective within this particular paragraph. Do it like this and do it like that. Now, if you do not understand all of these little basics of writing, how then do you intend to manage a team of writers? Now, that is a typical case of a blind person leading a blind person. So, ghostwriting, like I said, all right, I think I deviated from the main topic by complaining about all the things that there are to ghostwriting. But then ghostwriting is great. Okay. Ghostwriting, like I said, is when you give your what you have up here in exchange for the money that comes with. Ghostwriting can span across fiction. Ghostwriting can span across writing of memoir. Ghostwriting can span across writing of biography. Ghostwriting can span across writing of poetry, even music. Even musics are kind of like ghostwriting. Now, there are people that do academic writing. There are different types of writing. We have academic writing, we have blog articles writing, we have interactive writing, we have scripts writing, we have copywriting, we have and then we have web writing. Okay, now there are so many types of writing, and each of them differs. And then we have non-fiction writing, and then we have the species, we have the whiteboards, and writing on its own is actually very broad. It's actually very, very broad. Now, so ghostwriting on its own kind of like spans across all of these things. They all work independently, but ghostwriting is kind of like the glue that spreads across every single one of them. Okay, so ghostwriting is not limited the same way now, because when you come out as a writer, there are some persons who are very good with blog and short writing. Now, when you give them blog articles to write, they do very well with it. They write the blog article, what they give you is excellent. They're very good researchers. But when you ask them to do fiction writing for you, they don't do very well there. Now, that is limitation. But then ghostwriting kind of like does not have any limitation, because it doesn't matter what you're good at doing. Once someone seeks a ghostwriter, as long as you're able to do any of the things that they want as a ghostwriter, then you can perform as a ghostwriter in any capacity. So ghostwriting is kind of like, it's not spared only for people who do fiction writing, like it's widely assumed. No, it's not only for people who do fiction writing. Okay, and then ghostwriting, I think most of the people who are into ghostwriting only know that ghostwriting is all about fiction writing, and that's wrong. Okay, and I think that also means that a lot of money is being left on the table. They leave a lot of money on the table. I mean, right now there are about three aspects of ghostwriting that are the rave of the moment right now. Interactive writing, the one that you write for scripts for gamers and all of that, is kind of like a kind. Okay, for me personally, when I teach my class, I tell my students that interactive writing is kind of like a crossbreed between script writing, drama, and fiction. So it's like when you borrow from script writing, and then you borrow from when then you borrow from drama, and then you borrow from prose, and then you bring them together to give birth to a child. Now that love child they give birth to is what interactive writing is all about. When you write the interactive writing, it has a unique style to it, After you're done, you pass it down to the gamers, or rather the people who work from the back end of the game. And then these people, they now take what you've written, they turn it into a code, and then they feed it into the system, and it comes out as a game. But then it has choices and it has its own unique way. So interactive writing is actually raving right now. And then there is academic writing for those people who don't have issues with doing academic writing. I think academic writing kind of like borders on moral. What is your moral? What is your boundary? How far are you willing to go to make the money? Do you see it as a malpractice to write for someone? Probably, because not everybody who seeks academic writers are actually not intelligent. Like with the way it is today, a lot of people like are working and going to school at the same time. So now they are not able to do these two things because school is tasking and then their work is tasking. And in this economy, you can't afford to not work. So most people might be like, okay, can you take my exams for me? Can you take my tests for me? Because it's kind of like clashes with something I need to do. It kind of like clashes with that. So now if you're comfortable with doing academic writing, then academic writing is another oil well that is there in the world of ghostwriting. After interactive writing, the next one for me is academic writing. Personally, I don't do academic writing. I know all about it, I teach all about it, but I do not do academic writing. And then the last but not the least, the one that will never ever go out of, I mean, it can never phase out, is the blog article writing, writing for blogs and all of that. Yeah, there are challenges with finding works that are curated for people who are in Africa. It's kind of like a little bit difficult for most people in Africa to find blog writing articles, because most of the people who are seeking writers for their blogs, they kind of like tend to keep it to within their geographical areas. Most of them will always be like that. They want a writer from the English speaking world, or people who has English, excuse me, as their first language. So it's kind of like these people first, and then the next thing after whatever they've chosen, what is left over is what comes to us Africans. But then I think a lot of people are actually going out of their way to include Africans right now. Like I have a few groups where I belong, a few elite groups where I belong. They curate all the blog articles and ghostwriting gigs and a lot of other things that actually Africans are allowed to participate in. And then they kind of like share it to us through email. And if you're interested, you can bid for it. So I think with the amount of jobs I've seen over these few months, I want to believe that it's changing. And then there are a lot of people on Facebook that are actually doing very well by doing blog writing. I think Chidema Iwu is one of them, and with so many other people that I might not know all about. And then blog article writing, ghostwriting, and every other aspect of writing also has opportunities on Upwork, on Fiverr. I don't do those places. And then there is Guru. I don't do those places, but I know people who do, and they are killing it. They are doing very, very well there. Okay. So yeah, ghostwriting has come to stay. Ghostwriting is not going anywhere. But the problem is the mindset with which we approach ghostwriting, the mindset which we approach ghostwriting. Ghostwriting will always be there. The most important thing is, as long as you're giving it your all, it's okay to price, to put a price, charge for what you're worth, okay? Because I don't think I've seen any professional person like a doctor or an engineer or a pharmacist who knows their worth. And then they're like, kind of like when you tell them about developing a patent or operating on a patient, and then when they tell you that they're going to do it for, and then you have not seen a doctor in pharmacy that will be like, okay, it's supposed to actually be 1 million for this operation, or 1 million to develop this patent, but because it is you, I'm going to charge you 5,000 naira. I've not seen anything like that. There is pride in the profession of medicine. There is pride in the profession that is pharmacy. There is pride in the profession that even engineers, even people who do coding, are kind of like well sought after. Everybody in the world of tech now, they're all doing very well because these people are considered professionals, and what they offer are professional services. So I think the same courtesy should be extended to ghostwriters. But in this situation, the ghostwriters themselves have to first of all understand that what they are offering is not kind of like, it's not something that is everywhere. It's not easy to kind of like just within your brain you conjure a whole world that does not exist, and then you build this world. You even have a map. If you're asked to draw a map for this world, you can comfortably draw that map, and then you kind of like tweak this story, just a story about two persons falling in love, and then you find a way to make it interesting. You add all the plot twists, you add all the twins, you add all the twists, you add all the everything, a whole lot of things that makes it captivating. And then someone reads this book, not just 1,000 words, but 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, up to 40,000 and 400,000 words. Okay, now it's not painful enough that you see people charging $500 for 40,000 words. Now most of the web people who are out there, you see people willing to write a story of 100,000 words, and then at the end of the day, they're getting paid somewhere around $150,000 to $300 for it, which is a meager sum of somewhere around 75,000 naira for 100,000 words. That means you're not even being paid up to 1 naira a word for what you're writing. Now, imagine in the world of ghostwriting, back in the 5 years when I had a team, last 5 years, last 4 years, last 3 years, the team that works with me, I paid them 3 naira per word, and then every other month I gave them a bonus that went from 20,000 to 50,000, depending on how efficient you were with writing. And even after this, I still have a little money for myself, to the extent that I'm able to take care of my family. I'm able to contribute to help my husband in running the family, and then we are doing very well. So now, if ghostwriting as at 5 years ago, you're earning 3 naira plus bonus, and then there is still much money left on the table, then that means by now you're supposed to be earning somewhere around 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 naira. So how come we're going from earning 3 naira 5 years ago to now earning something less than 1 naira now, with the way that everything is skyrocketing, with the way that things are becoming more costly? If you check it, you see that it does not make any sense. It does not make any sense. We are supposed to be growing forward and not growing backward. It's a taboo when instead of moving forward, you're moving backward. It's not considered a good thing. So, and I think one of the major reasons why it's like that is because a lot of us, a lot. I mean, I think let me just put it that I think the word ghostwriting has been watered down so much that even those who have a lot inside them, who has the quality and everything that they need to thrive on ghostwriting, are now afraid to charge what they are worth, because it feels as if you're trying to charge what you're worth, then the employers are willing to exploit and go to the person who is offering the cheapest amount of money. Yes, there are cases whereby they go to people who are offering cheaper rates, and then the person writes and they still come back to you because the quality they get is not what they expect. But then it's also very difficult, and I think it bruises the ego of a service provider when you leave them at the initial stage to go for someone you feel is cheaper, only to come back to them. Why don't you make me your first choice to begin with? Why am I not your first choice to begin with? And that's the reason why I keep saying that it is within our hands as the service providers to change the status quo. Let us stop watering down what ghostwriting is all about and actually step up and start to charge what it is that we feel that our talent is really worth. Because when we do that, a lot of things are going to change. Unless maybe you don't trust the process, unless maybe you don't trust your talent, unless maybe you're kind of like just harvesting someone else's talent and passing it off as your own. But if the talent is yours, then you know all the pain that goes into keeping up late at night, or you're sleeping and then an idea pops into your head, you jump up from your bed, you pick your phone, and then you start recording so that you don't forget after you slept through the night. Or maybe you start writing down so that you don't forget these points eventually. And then after all the stress and all of that, knowing fully well that someone else is going to take all the glory for this, then you're now paid a meager sum that by the time you would have inhaled and moved on from this place to the next place, you won't even finish buying the food stuff for the day, and then the money is all gone. So ghostwriting is actually a prestigious work. Ghostwriting is prestigious. I'm doing ghostwriting full time, so I think I know what it is I'm saying when I say that ghostwriting is actually prestigious. So ghostwriting is prestigious and it can actually sustain somebody as a full time job, but you just have to accord it the respect that it is, accord your intellectual the respect that it deserves, and everything else. Learn to charge what you're worth, okay? Learn to charge what you're worth, and there is always a client base for you, a client that understands that, yeah, you're actually worth this amount of money. The only thing that they need to do is work with you for the first time. And once that is done, and they come to taste and see that indeed you know your worth and what it is that you're doing, then I doubt that there is any way you're going to lack clients. Okay. So I don't know what else it is about ghostwriting that I've not talked about or that I've not touched, but I think that that practically covers everything that there is to ghostwriting that I want to talk about in regards to the status quo.
Wow.
Yeah, then I think one more one, yeah, I think one last thing to advise is just look out for the scammers. There is no business you're doing that you're not going to encounter scammers. So while you're doing it, just be smart. Be very, very smart. Okay? Just be very, very smart. When you sign a contract, make sure your money is there. When you sign a contract, I think a contract for ghostwriting has to do with, apart from kind of like binding you to secrecy, it also talks about your money and everything. So thank you, Albert. Thank you so much. I appreciate your input. Thank you very much. So I think make sure to get your money, or at least a greater percentage of your money. Make sure to get it down, because lots of scammers, and I think with every day it keeps increasing. So if it is not the so-called business manager scamming the writers, it is clients scamming the writers. So be very, very careful when you're charging for your money. Make sure to collect your money, or collect what your money is worth, so that even when you're going to lose anything, you're not going to lose a lot of it to it, because it's difficult to give your everything and then have someone rob you of your payments. Thank you very much, and sorry for interrupting you right there.
Oh, no, 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 no. That was it as a mother. That's what to face. Oh, I'm a man. That's what to get face.
It's your move,
I
man.
understand. Your session is, I love the two words you use at that time. Your session is intriguing and captivating. And your voice is just
Thank
so
you.
energetic. You just, in fact, I was supposed to leave the stage to be behind the scene, like backstage and be watching. But I could not just, in fact, I said, no, no, I must be in the front. I must be in the front seat. I just have to stay here and watch you. See all this, let it enter. Like, let it enter. I just want to be watching you one on one. Like, my God, this session is too big. And oh my God, mom, you're so good. You're so good. Why are people not
Thank
talking
you.
about it? Please, well, I'm not talking about that now. We'll talk about that at the end of the session. So I have some questions to ask. I have
Okay.
some questions to ask. Number one is, what are the platforms you can share that ghostwriter get high paying clients from?
Sorry, come again with your question.
Okay, what are the platform a ghostwriter that you can like? What are those platform you can mention that ghostwriter get high paying clients from?
Okay, okay, high paying clients, the platforms where they can get high paying clients. I think when I started out, like I told you, it was kind of like 5 years ago, when ghostwriting wasn't that rampant and hadn't been watered down. So there is this platform, I think, is it ghostwriting something 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 on Facebook. When you just go to your Facebook search bar and then you enter ghostwriting, a lot of groups are going to pop up. A lot of groups are going to pop up. I think there is freelance for Africa. There is the ghostwriting group, the one that is run by a Mary somebody, and then there is another platform that I'm trying to name, that I think it's a beautiful platform that I found early this year. And it's kind of like there is no day you don't see people looking out for people who are going to do ghostwriting for them. But like I said, since it became watered down and all of that, a lot of the direct clients do not come to Facebook anymore. More or less, the ghostwriting gigs that you find now kind of like is being passed around in the inner circle. So it's kind of like I've worked with you before, you know how I do. So when your client needs somebody, you kind of like be like, oh, Amy, I have a client that wants this and wants that. I'm already booked up for this month. I can't take on these clients. Can you take my clients on? So number one is referral. I think referral does it for us this time around. And then, but if you, there are still people actively hiring ghostwriters. But right now, if you're looking out for them, the best platform for them is LinkedIn. Because right now, Facebook is kind of like becoming too toxic for a lot of people. So not many people are okay with coming to Facebook anymore. But when you go to LinkedIn, because I think I haven't been active on LinkedIn, I don't understand LinkedIn very well, but I managed to go to LinkedIn this year and then I revamped my profile. And then one person, and then I think I got a client from, I got, yes, exactly. Thank you, Albert. And then I got a client from LinkedIn. So I think if I actually settle down and take my time to really, really be there, I think there is a lot of potential on LinkedIn. And then most of the people, the companies that are hiring and sending out queries, are they are too much on Twitter. Plenty of them are on Twitter. So many CEOs, so many heads of operations, so many magazine owners, so many blog owners, so many business owners. And most of the gigs you find on Twitter actually have decent amounts of money to it. It's not like the one that you see on Facebook, because most of them, before you even see it, the payment is already attached to it. So when you look at it and you do your calculations and it fits in within the category of what you want to do, then you go ahead and take it up. So I think the best places now are Twitter and LinkedIn. And then if you already did build your circle, then I think referral works a lot. On Facebook, there are clients, okay, but majority of the clients you find on Facebook now offer very low rates, because web writing is more popular on Facebook right now than one-on-one ghostwriting. And then the next thing to do is to just build a website. Create a website for your business. It doesn't, if you don't have money to host, then there are so many templates and so many platforms that allows for free hosting. You just use it to build your portfolio. So because your portfolio adds a kind of credibility to what you do, your portfolio kind of like gives you an edge over that person who is bidding. And it's kind of like when they ask where is your portfolio, you be like, I don't have a portfolio, but I can do some sample writing for you. No, it doesn't work anymore. I think that worked many, many years ago, but not now. So even if you're offering to do sample writing for them, it's also okay to have a portfolio, because your portfolio kind of like makes it less, as it makes it less assumable that you're a scammer. Okay, yeah. So a portfolio grounds you. A portfolio gives you an edge. And then the people who are hiring, if you're for interactive writing, LinkedIn. So many interactive writing platforms are springing up on LinkedIn. But before you go for it, you make sure that you have all it takes, because interactive writing is technical. But there is plenty of opportunities for that on LinkedIn, and even normal memoirs. A lot of memoir ghost people who need memoir ghostwriters are on LinkedIn too. And then if you want for blog articles, if you want to do for blog articles and business to business service off as a ghostwriter, go to Twitter. That's where you're going to find them. Yeah.
Wow, just wow. I don't know what to say. Like, I just people are bringing. They don't hide things. They don't like. They are so open. Like they open up the secret. This is that the people we paying for in classes. I make it free here. And the people I bring to,
Abby.
they can resonate with me. They just give out this is free information. And I like, oh, I tell
Mm-hmm.
people, privileged information is what will change your life. This information, many will not be found on Google, but somebody has it
Mm-hmm.
until me the writer. And
Exactly.
I can now testify that you are indeed a phenomenal ghostwriter. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah,
you are
thank you
like I
too.
used to say, we have two dangerous people on net. fact, they are one because this is how I categorize them. People who are articulate, they are the most dangerous people on earth. Gun is not the weapon. Bomb is not the weapon.
Okay.
Cutlass is not the weapon. But if you can use your words, you can just know how to articulate your thoughts. You are a dangerous being on earth. Because check what caused war in any country between Russia and Ukraine. It's not about the bomb, it's not about the nuclear weapon or whatever. It's about what agreement, what I say and what I reply you, what make up fight. So it's about those who
Exactly.
are articulate that are the most dangerous people on it. And you're so articulate. I was just watching you how you were using your words. I was like, oh, this one is just too good. You're just too good. I cannot be ignored. You were using your words. I was like, I was
Okay, now
following
you're
everything.
flattering me.
I'm not flirting. I'm being real. I'm
Yeah.
being real. I was like, wow, wow. You are, yeah, you're just flowing. I was like, ah, oh, indeed. You are even talking like a lawyer. Like, oh, you must come. You study master. Ah, oh my God. You are so, like, you communicate fluently. In fact, you communicate eloquently and fluently. You're speaking. So I love that. I love that. Thank you. I'm also learning. I'm also learning here. Thank you
Treasure.
so much. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you
Here's the
too.
next question. I'm enjoying this session. The next question is this: what does it take one to become a ghostwriter? Because before you become a ghostwriter, there are a lot of things you went through, trainings and all that. So what does it cost one to become a ghostwriter?
Okay, yeah, for me, I think it didn't take me too much to actually become a ghostwriter because right from when I used to be in primary school, I think I developed interest in novel reading a very long time ago or at an early stage in life, okay? Because most writers, most great writers are actually avid readers. A lot of great writers are avid readers, okay? So I'm a voracious reader up until this very moment. I love to read. I love to read. I love to read a lot. I love to research. And so, aside reading and all of that, I went ahead to study mass communication. And then, so now, apart from reading, reading actually tends to sharpen your knowledge of vocabulary and English because even when you're not looking out for it, you subconsciously absorb that which you read. Okay, and I think it makes it easy because when you read, you're able to read several authors and you're able to understand their writing style. So now when you ask me about Stephen King, I can easily tell you all about his writing style. When you talk about Dan Brown, then I think about the Da Vinci Code and everything that has to do with ancient ancient stuff and monuments and the rest of them. And then when you talk about, yeah, I think Stephen King is the one that likes to write a lot of books that revolves around law and the rest of them. And then when you tell me Dean Koontz, I tell you that Dean Koontz is the master of mystery and everything that has to do with trailers. Then tell me about Nora Roberts, and then I'll tell you that she's the queen of romance. Okay, and her romance is light and beautiful. She doesn't go heavy on the smut. She doesn't go heavy on the kind of like the scenes that has to do with X-rated scenes and the rest of it. So now reading these people, you're able to kind of like absorb it. So when you're writing, somehow that which is embedded within your subconscious actually comes to manifest. Okay, because when you're writing, a bit of your persona is passed down into whatever you're writing. It's passed down into your characters. I think I remember a friend in one group that one woman was joking and she's like that her husband is an author and then she has this ex. Okay, let's just say the ex's name was Frank. Okay, then she used to like Frank a lot before the husband came along. It was very difficult for the husband, to convince her to leave Frank to marry him. And now, when the husband writes, okay, the husband did not fight Frank physically, but for every book he writes, he always manages to name the bad guy Frank. And in every book he writes, he always makes sure that Frank dies. Okay, so it's either Frank is pushed down from the cliff or Frank dies at the god. So if he doesn't make Frank the antagonist, he kind of like makes Frank the guy that takes the fall for all the things. So he kind of like finds a way to make sure that bad things happens to any Frank in his book. Now, this is him channeling that whatever it is that he's feeling, that animosity that he's feeling towards Frank. And now there is a Frank in every character that he writes in his book. So the same thing goes to writing. When you're writing, what is actually here is what flows through your fingers and goes into your writing. So if you're not reading, if you don't understand anything, if all that goes on in your head is kind of like smart, when you're writing, it shows up and all of that. So I think before taking any classes, the first thing and the best thing you can do for yourself is to be an avid reader. If you want to write horror, then try to read a lot of horror authors, see the way they are doing their story, read about it, understand it, and then find your own unique voice and then mix it with everything that you've read and then come up with something good. Okay, so before you take classes, you need to learn to read, because if you're not able to read, your vocabulary is going to be an issue. Okay, vocabulary is going to be an issue. And then it's okay to also take classes, because taking classes, especially from people who already started writing long before you came into the world of writing, they do have a lot of things to teach you. In my language, I'm Igbo, by the way, we say that na obonyo zowe sibite na kaye enwe ite. So in English, it means that the woman who actually started cooking before the younger generation came up, that her pots will always be older and bear more scars than the pots of the newly married wives. Okay, so the same thing goes. The person who started writing before you came along automatically would have gained a lot of experiences. If the experiences didn't come from all the wins that they had, the experiences will come from the mistakes that they made. So if you follow who know roads, I think the amount of potholes you're going to fall into actually becomes lesser. If the person you're following fell into like five potholes when they were starting out, you on your own might actually end up falling into just two. And that two, God willing, will not be deep. Okay, it will just be kind of like very slight and easy for you to come out from. So first of all, you have to be an avid reader. If you don't like reading, then there is no way you're going to make a good writer, because it's only when you read that you understand what appeals to you. And when you're writing, it's imperative that you are not thinking as a writer, but you're writing as a reader. Okay, when you're writing, it's important to ask yourself, this thing that I'm writing, if the tables are turned, will I read this story? If I read this story, am I going to love this story? So if you're writing from the perspective of a reader, it's easier for you to write something that will captivate your audience than when you're writing as a writer. If you're writing for the sake of the money, then you're writing for the sake of writing. But if you're writing for the love of the craft, then you're writing as a reader. Okay, so these are the three things. The first one is to read, learn to read. The second one is, do not be afraid to pay for classes, especially when you're sure that whoever it is that you're paying to actually understands the concept of writing. Do not go and pay to somebody that you're better than, and then after you've paid, they'll go and gather cut and join videos from YouTube and then give you. And by the time you start watching, you wouldn't even watch up to two, you would develop migraine, and then your money would have wasted, and you will start shouting all these coaches on Facebook that are out to steal my money and all of that. So pay a coach, but do your homework and be sure that this person actually knows what they are doing. And then the third one is practice, practice, practice. And when you're practicing, do not make it all about you. Make it all about your readers. Okay, make it all about your readers. And then if you're going to be a good writer, then you have to be a very good observer. Talk less and observe more, because that lady that passes you by the road that is wearing that multicolored wig and she's walking somehow can actually become a character within your book. Okay, that seal pass that one of the content creators is wearing, and everybody is laughing about how the seal pass has gone out of that it has gone out of circulation and is no longer in vogue. That seal pass can actually become a weapon of destruction in your novel as you are writing. So when you talk less, you're able to observe more. And when you observe more, you're able to learn a lot of things, pick a lot of points from the universe. And then from the observations that you make in a day is enough for you to write an entire novel. And when you write from observation, it's easier to capture the mind of your readers, because now you're writing something that is relatable, because relatability is what matters a lot in the world of writing. Tell me, write me about a character that I can relate with. Because when you write about a character that feels foreign to me, there is no way I understand that character. And if I don't understand that character, your book is going to be boring to me. So when you write a character that is really relatable, then it's easy for me to read. Okay, so you learn to read, you learn to pay for classes that you need and the one you can afford at that point in time, and then you learn to write from the perspective of the reader and not the perspective of the writer, and then you learn to talk less and observe more. So these are the four things that can actually help someone to groom their skills as ghostwriters or as a writer in general. And then research, always never be afraid to research and never be afraid to ask questions. If I hadn't researched, I think Alaska is actually, I mean, like most of the countries in America, there are so many of them that are confusing. You are writing about this Alaska, and then they're telling you that there is a different Alaska altogether too. So some of us don't even know the difference between Ireland and Iceland. So always learn to research. I think Google World, is it Google World or so? There is a part of Google that allows you to Google about countries and learn things about them, and then you input it into your writing and all of that. So research actually is another perfect instrument for when you're writing or when you want to be an amazing writer.
All right. Wow. Wow. I'm just wow. Like, hi God, you're an angel, mommy. Hmm. Angel on earth. Wow. Thank you. I just love how detailed you are. Like, you go from step one, step two, step three, step to step. That's how you climb it. You are climbing the mountain of being out to a country. Just start from small to big. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Abby, you're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Yes. For the next question. What were the mistakes and struggles you made when you were starting out as a ghostwriter?
Oh, let me charge am now. Okobiko now. Okay. Yeah, the mistakes I made when I was starting out as a ghostwriter. Like I said, I think most of them were actually very funny and, well, not really funny because I think the way we Nigerians or we Africans understand things is not the same way that the Americans actually understand things. Okay, like I think I've actually lost some gig because they felt that the amount of money I charged for it is actually too little. Be fast. They feel that the money I'm charging is too little, and that you're charging something that is as low as that, then it automatically means one thing, which is the fact that you're trying to scam them. So I think the mistake I made in those place cases is that most often than not, when they talk about it like that, instead of trying to calm down and reason with them, I kind of like blow my top. I'll be like, how dare you say that I'm a scammer when I've not scammed you, this one, that one. I mean, I kind of like, okay, let's just say more or less I lacked patience. And then, but over the years, I've learned that patience is everything because you're going to meet different types of authors and you're going to meet different types of clients. And then you have to be able to handle any kind of clients that you come across. I think then the second mistake is actually being too trusting in the world of writing and service provision because a lot of people will take advantage of your naivety and then they'll scam you. I think after the first two man I worked with, the second client I met, um, yeah, she scams me. She actually scams me of money that went into almost that went from, I think it was either $800 or was it $1,000 that she scammed me of. And what happened was that, I mean, at some point I became very trusting of her. I mean, we kind of like stopped relating like clients and customer. We kind of like went from that level, and I started forming friendship and all of that. We talk about a lot of things. She was married to a Nigerian. an American lady that lived in Hollywood, married to a Nigerian. And then I think I let down my guard, and being that I was also new in the world of writing. So I think at the early stages, I got scammed a lot. She scams me, and then someone else, another lady like that, scams me. And then it was after the third scam that I now woke up from my sleep and was like, no more, not again. So when you're writing, it's okay to be
Never
polite.
again.
Yeah, never again. So I will treat you with all the politeness that there is, and I'll kind of like be very, very civil with you. But to let down my guard, to move from that level of being my client to becoming friends and all of that, or to be forming friendship with you, I don't do that anymore. And I tend to not overshare anymore. I just provide the service you're paying me for, answer the questions that you're asking me, the ones I can answer to the best of my ability, and then the rest of them, I keep them to my mind. Okay. And then the last lesson I learned was giving out gigs to people I felt understood writing. And then maybe they kind of like did the first sample and it looked good to me. And then I trusted them to finish the job, only for them to go to the middle and do a shabby job. They did a shoddy job. And because of that, I lost a very beautiful client that I keep regretting up until tomorrow. And that's why I said striving to manage talents is not the most important thing. The most important question is, do you even understand the basics of writing? Because you need to understand the basics of writing so that you will be able to understand when your writer is not doing it right, so that you will know when the person is not doing what they're supposed to do, and you can easily nip it off at the board. Okay, now I kind of like, excuse me, in my own case, I became very trusting. I let down my guards and all of that. Okay. But then imagine now that if I hadn't learned my lesson and applied my knowledge of writing and all of that. So imagine someone who understands nothing about writing now managing a team of writers and all of that. So that means every day you're going to continue losing clients. Every day you're going to continue losing clients. And that is why it's important that before you start managing writers, make sure that you understand what writing is all about. So I think these are a few of the mistakes that I made that actually taught me a lifelong lesson. I learned from them, and now I'm doing very much better.
All right. Thank you for sharing that story with us. I know it's really painful to take you back to that place. Not like I'm trying to put salt inside the wound, but I'm just trying to make others not to go through that wound again. Let them not have that
Mm-hmm.
pain. Just like you said, if you have mentor or teacher or a trainer, you will not have to fall into the pot. Even if you are falling into the pot, you will not go deeper to the bottomless pit. You'll be at the surface.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So that was how
Yeah,
I
you're
asked you
welcome.
to share your experience. So you said
Exactly.
right from observation, and I understood, or should I say, I understand what you mean by that. Right from observation. I can remember I'm a
Mm-hmm.
poet, so I write poetry. I write very well. There was in fact in the ghetto. In fact, in my school, anywhere I go with book and biro. So I don't go with book and biro. I go
Mm-hmm.
with a book. I just go with a book and pen, or with my phone. I must see something. I must like if I see people fighting, I was like, what is going on? Okay, how can I turn this into a poem? Very funny.
Exactly.
My own is not to go and separate, but I cannot turn it to a poem. So I'm just observing. Okay, what is the pain of this person? Okay, why did this person do like this? In fact, I moved from animal to no, from human being to animal. When I there was time a
Mm-hmm.
bird died, I'm like, how why did the bird die? And now that's the reason why that bird died was because the wings were broken. I wrote a poem titled Broken
Uh-huh.
Wings.
You see?
And that poem was so emotional. That poem was so emotional. It
Exactly.
relates to human. In fact, I was not.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I moved from writing to human. I was not. I was not like a metaphysical poet. I can turn ordinary
Mm-hmm.
things to become human. That's what they call
Exactly.
is it what's this figure of speech that okay, this figure of speech that we use for turning personification, making inanimate turning object to human. Turning
Mm-hmm.
object to human. So I was like, my God, I can do this. So I now understand that was not what took me to this next question. How does imagination help a ghostwriter? Because observation will make you imagine, you go deeper, you live yourself, you go deeper, you want to just imagine, even if it's not true, but just want to turn it into something. So how does imagination help a ghostwriter?
Yeah, imagination does help you a lot because it's part of what makes your work unique, okay? Because the way my imagination does not work the same way your imagination works. And the same way your imagination does not work the way the next person's imagination works. So imagination to every ghostwriter is the same way that DNA is to every human. So your imagination actually helps put to perspective the things, the way you see life, the way you observe your characters, the way you understand your characters. And then it also helps you to pen it down within your book. Okay, it helps you to pen it down within the manuscript that you develop. Okay, it helps you to put it down within the manuscript that you develop. And that is why imagination is why Stephen King is able to stand out amongst other writers that there are. It is the same reason why Nora Roberts is able to stand out and have a name for herself from the other writers. The same thing for J.K. Rowling to be able to make her mark in the world of writing. So your imagination actually helps you to carve out your own signature. It helps you to carve out your own uniqueness. It helps you to be able to stand out and have your own voice and kind of like have your own status quo that anywhere anybody sees it, that like this writing style belongs to this person. It's only so and so person that has this amount of hyper imagination. Okay, so that's what imagination does for you as a ghostwriter.
Wow, it's like you are so good, man. I'll keep saying that from now to tomorrow. You remember the last time when we were talking about what are the things we will build, we need to know to become a ghostwriter. You mentioned read, research, and pay for classes. And when it comes to reading, I
Mhm.
say I should tell people reading builds your brain and mind muscles because your brain and mind, just like, in fact, your brain is a muscle. So just like if you want to gym now, you want to have six pack, you want to have your muscle come out, just want to be fitted, you
Mhm.
have to keep carrying the weight, you have to keep running, you have to keep gymming,
Exactly.
doing all of those stuff so that your
Exactly.
muscle will now be out the way you want to impress girls.
Mhm.
So you have to do it often and again and again. I wish I was reading from the
Mhm.
age of 7. Oh my god, I'll not be like this. I started late. That's my thing. I started
uh,
very late. Before I could not write, I could not speak, I could not read. But I had to reinvent myself. I wish I started earlier. Ah, very
no,
painful. I thank God at the end.
today is still early. Yeah, you're still doing fine.
Thank God. Thank God. So just maybe that's what made me more passionate. Because if I had not, maybe if I had started earlier, I'd not be passionate this much. So I thank
Exactly.
God for that too. I thank God for that. So now
Mhm.
because you said when you were a
Jadi.
ghostwriter, if people should ask you what makes you this, what makes you that, you should not tell or talk about the people you ghostwrited for you did service for. So that's what I'm asking. Should we now say that
Wait, wait.
ghostwriters are people that keep secret very well? Should we now say that ghostwriters are people that can keep secret very well, able to expose, like their matters or any secret between you and the client will not go
Yeah,
beyond
ghostwriting has to do with
individual.
secrecy. You're not allowed, yeah, because you definitely have to have an amount of self-control and secrecy to be able to thrive as a ghostwriter because those contracts are binding. All contracts are binding. The contract that you sign is binding. It doesn't matter if your client is in the United States and you're here in Nigeria. A contract is a contract and it is binding. And should you breach that contract, then the client is well within their rights to ask for total refund and to even sue you to court. Definitely, I think the United States have a jurisdiction over Nigeria. So if it too vex the person, they can easily come down here, extradite you to abroad, and then you'd go and face the full wrath of the law. So yeah, ghostwriting, the one of the things you need to survive as a ghostwriter is to learn how to be tight-lipped, to learn how to keep secrets, except on very rare occasions when the author gives you the leverage to actually identify with the book. Okay, there are some cases whereby the writer would be like, okay, you actually did an outstanding job, I'm going to refer you to my friends. And then there are cases whereby they will just go beyond referring you to their friends to also kind of like giving you credits when they're writing down the credits for the book. So that happens too.
Hallelujah. Hey, you've answered all my questions. Thank you so
Sabi,
much.
yeah,
So we've come to
yeah,
this
it's an
point
honor.
With no nah, I should be the one. No nah, ma'am. Thank you so much for this privilege to have you for 1 hour, 18 minutes. I'm still counting. Thank you so much. I know how. Even now, you even tell your case. Go and sit down. Mommy is in the business of ghostwriting. Sit down. You
Yes.
just try to like let us stay there. So just because of me,
Uh,
thank you. Because of me, you have to close 1 hour before your closing hour just to make quick sure you come to your house and all of this. So those sacrifices, I don't take it for granted. Please, ma'am, I want you to
it's
talk
all
about the
right.
training. Please use this time to talk about the training. Do you have any training on ghostwriting? Please let us know. Anybody might watch TV at any time might be interested to know more. They might want to learn ghostwriting. So please, if you have, please just say it now. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I do. I think I started the Platinum Ghostwriters Academy sometime, was it last year or was it last 2 years? And then we did a test run. And then afterwards, I stopped for a while. But yeah, right now I'm done. I'm actually done. I kind of like decided to make it into a class because I discovered that it was really tedious having to do my work as a ghostwriter and then I rush home and prep for a live class with the students and everything. So I kind of like gathered all my knowledge of ghostwriting. I'm actually trying to see if I can walk away from ghostwriting, not full time, but I want to drop some of the responsibilities that comes with ghostwriting because it's time consuming and all of that. My children are fast growing and I need to do other things. I need time to do other things. So I actually started working on this course since last year. I started working on it this last year. I didn't want to rush it and I didn't want to kind of like give something shallow. So I've been working on it, but it's all done now. And I think right now we're working on creating the sales page and the funnel through which we can run the advertisement for the writing. So, but it's all done. I actually did it and I was discussing it with my team and it's bogus actually. It's actually a very bogus and wholesome class. So I divided them into 4 sessions, but each of them is actually very wholesome. So the course is ready, and yeah, it's ready. In fact, it's ready because I think for us to have come to the point of writing the funnel, creating the funnel, and planning to start the arts anywhere within this month, it shows that everything that needs to be done is already done. I collaborated with two of my pioneer students, two students that went through my academy and are doing very well in their own fields too, earning multiple six figures and doing very, very well. I collaborated with them and we created a wholesome course on writing. We have a class on interactive writing, better reading for people who want to become authors, a whole class on ghostwriting, a whole class on blog writing, a whole class. I mean, it's when I talk about it and whenever I share the course outline, it's kind of like
Ah,
it's
I know. But what
yeah, so
I
yeah,
know.
so
Look for us
sure.
to
I
get
so
there.
the I do have a course and it's ready. And honestly, I
All
poured
right.
in all my years of experience into it, all my years of
Please,
experience and
please.
everything I've paid for because I did pay for a lot of classes. I paid for a lot of materials and everything I gathered. I packed all of them and they're all part of the package that I'm offering with the ghostwriting course.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
please. I beg you with everything I could or I can beg you. Promote this course like crazy. Let it in the morning when you wake up. Ghostwriting, ghostwriting. Let them say disturb, please disturb. Because the thing you
Me.
shared here, the level of your knowledge, the level of the information you've gathered, the things you have, my God.
Your mic went off right now. Check your mic. It went off. Yeah. No, I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. But it seems like you can hear me, but I can't hear you. So what went wrong? Midway into your talk, I lost you. Okay, network, I think. Okay, so I do hope that you come back anytime soon. I don't understand what it is that went wrong with your microphone because somewhere there I stopped hearing you. So please, if you're watching, he's going to be back any moment soon. I don't know what went wrong with his network, but I'm hoping that he's going to join us any moment from now. So while you're waiting for him, if you do have a question you'd like to ask, I'd like to take your question if you have any. But if you do not have any, then it's all right. That's a good thing. Thank you for just coming around. Your presence is everything. I definitely appreciate you giving me your audience tonight and listening to everything that I have to do and say about ghostwriting. Oh, it's good to have you back. You're back. Okay. Yeah, I still can't hear you. Check if your mic is turned off. Check if you turned off your microphone. I still can't hear you. No, 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 no. I can't hear you. Ah, yeah, it's all right, no problem. So I think for some reason the universe wants us to end here. So maybe we'll just okay, your light keeps reflecting on it. I don't understand what it is. Maybe there is a chat box there. See if you can type in the chat box. Yeah, sorry about your mic.